How is public speaking different from everyday conversation? Have you ever been in a situation where you've been around somebody and they seem to have something prepared for their conversation, and then on the opposite end, you've been to a speech where they weren't prepared at all, and you thought, I wonder if they knew they were giving a talk today. There is a big difference between a public speech and everyday conversation. So we're going to talk about that today. I'm Jason Hewlett, Hall of Fame speaker. I'm excited to dive in with you. Here we go. Today, the purpose of this video is to uncover the hidden distinctions between public speaking and how it can actually help you as a leader, whether you're aspiring for a new leadership position or something else. I'm excited to walk you through this because there is a complete difference between the public speaking and the everyday conversation. You see, a lot of leaders really work hard at their public speaking. They've figured out the secret that this is how they influence people. And so when it comes to leadership and public speaking, we have an opportunity and an obligation to come prepared in that case. Let's talk first about formality and structure. When it comes to a speech, you come prepared. You have an outline, you have perhaps notes, you might even have PowerPoint and other topics and or titles and things that you're going to be talking about in specific. But then there's the everyday conversation. So when it comes to everyday conversation, that's more spontaneous. If you have been in conversation with people that seem like they have an agenda, then it feels almost like they're giving a speech to you. And so getting prepared to be a speaker is one thing, and having an everyday conversation is completely different. So when it comes to public speaking, you have an audience. They're expecting to hear something or learn something from you. When you're in an everyday conversation, it's more of a spontaneous engagement and interaction with somebody. And so having that organic engagement with somebody is really important. Let's talk about the key differences and their impact. So first, there's preparation. I love talking about preparation because I have to do a lot of preparation for everything that I do, whether it's a video like this or being on stage for performing in front of thousands of people. But when it comes to public speaking, you have to be prepared. You have to know the reason that you're giving the speech, the audience and what they're listening for, what you want to give them as far as being the speaker that's excited to get the chance to speak to them. You also want to get into researching and outlining and preparing everything that you're going to say. Not necessarily that you need to stick to the script exactly. You can improvise a little bit, but it is way different from an everyday conversation. So when it comes to the everyday conversation person who shows up as if they are ready to give a speech, I actually have a friend like this, and he is a great guy. Like, he might be one of my favorite people, and he should have a talk show. He's just that good. But it seems like every conversation that we have that you would think is organic, he shows up as if he's ready to give a speech. And so you have to almost just be ready for him to go on this crazy tangent of every single subject that he's been thinking about. And I have encouraged him to go into public speaking because that's how a lot of the conversations feel. You probably have had experiences with somebody like this in your life, and so it's up to you whether you want to call it out and say, hey, this is just a conversation, let's just talk, rather than, hey, did you prepare notes for us to have a little sit down together, this one-on-one chat? And so I like to say, hey, let's just have a nice conversation, and sometimes I'll just sit and listen, and when they're done talking, I'll say, hey, you know what, you should be a public speaker. I have a channel that could help you even more. When it comes to public speaking, there's a difference in delivery between speaking and then just a conversation with a friend. With your delivery, your body and your body language is going to do something specific. You're going to be addressing an entire audience, although you want to focus on specific individuals. Versus in an everyday conversation, if you were doing big body poses and strength stances and so forth, it would be a little bit awkward in that conversation. So remember to keep those different things in mind when it comes to standing on a stage. You have an opportunity in that sense where you might think to yourself, oh, I want to have a conversation with the audience. Yeah, that's important, but you need to not only come prepared, but also be like, I'm presenting. I'm on stage. I'm doing something that's unique. And these people deserve to see me stand in my power, to use body language, to use vocal tonality, some differences in the variety of the way that I tell a story or I share a point or I teach. As a public speaker, you're going to be on that stage and doing something that's extraordinary for people to see. They want to enjoy it. They don't want to feel like you're just winging it. And so coming and standing in your spot and in your strength, having differences in the way that you deliver, it's all very important. Now let's talk about engagement. As a speaker, you have the opportunity and really the responsibility to engage with the audience, whether this is asking a question or sharing some cool stories that you've created that would give them a reason to listen. Remember, the audience is really asking themselves while you're speaking, why should I listen to this? What does this have to do with me? Versus a conversation where you're just talking to somebody and it's happening organically. You're not waiting for the next thing to say, perhaps, and let's just talk about that for a minute. Within conversation, we don't want to be that person that's just waiting to say the thing that we have to say. It's more about listening, active listening, if you will. We respond to what the person is saying. And in this sense, that's what's helpful about public speaking as well. When you're on stage, you're giving a presentation, obviously, but there's also an active listening that's happening. You can tell with the feeling in the audience if they're enjoying it or not, if they're connecting with you, and then you can make some great adjustments from there. So here's some unique insights and tips I'm excited to share with you. We'll just crank right through these. Here we go. Number one is to understand your audience. Tailor your message to the people that are listening. Depending upon who's in that audience, they want to hear something specific to them. So understand your audience. Number two, master the art of storytelling. When you learn how to become a great storyteller, you will become a greater public speaker. A lot of people think they don't need to focus on that. They just need to give facts and figures and charts and so forth. Not true. The storytellers are the ones that get paid the most and have the most effectiveness as a speaker. Number three, develop a strong opening. When you stand up on stage, people have to have a reason to listen to you. And so when you deliver a great opening, whether it's a great quote, an interesting question, or start right into a story that will engage and hook them, that's a really powerful way to speak. Number four, use visual aids wisely. You want to use the PowerPoint or the slides that you have because this actually gives people a different way within their brain to connect what you're saying with the words. Now, you don't want the slides and the imagery to overpower the speech. You want it to supplement the speech, so use those wisely. Number five is to practice vocal variety. And that means changing your pitch, your speed, your tone. Maybe sometimes your voice is really fast and high, and then other times you're saying something profound, and you lower your voice in that way and slow down. The vocal variety allows the audience to stay engaged with you thoroughly. One of my favorites is number six, incorporate pauses. A lot of speakers seem to feel like they're on a runaway train. And if you've ever been in that kind of speech, you know you need them to pause once in a while. The pause allows us as a listener to actually comprehend what we just heard, to chew on it a little bit. It gives the audience a chance to breathe. Number seven, body language. Body gestures, the things you do with your hands, the way that you walk and move around. Body language speaks quite a bit. You see, the audience hears what you're saying, but your body can actually emit something that makes them say, oh, I believe that he knows what he's talking about. And so body language is something to consider. Now, we've talked about active listening, but then there's number eight, which is feedback loop. And so while you're speaking, the audience is actually giving you energy or not. And this is a really great way as a speaker to perfect this ability to give an anecdote or a quote or a question or a story, and to be able to then help that determine through the feedback loop to say, okay, I can go in this direction or that. As somebody who incorporates music into my speeches, and maybe that sounds odd to you, but I like to share music because I sing. And so when I'm up on that stage, I'll do a song number like a minute long, and I'll be able to determine from that number if the audience is with me or against me. And this is an active feedback loop. It's kind of a wacky thing to do, and it feels weird, especially when the audience isn't liking the music I just did. And so then I'll acknowledge that and I'll say, oh, it seems like that didn't go over well. Let's try a different genre, see if you like this, or a different decade of music. And so I'll jump from, instead of doing maybe the 70s into the 2000s or back to the 1950s or something like that. That allows for this feedback loop to happen, and then you can create the speech organically in that way. Let's talk about confidence and authenticity. When you speak with confidence, you build trust and respect from the people in your audience, especially when you share authenticity in terms of sharing that which makes you authentically you. You might share some vulnerability. These types of things are what the audience wants to hear from you. It makes them feel like they're connected to a real person. Number 10 is continuous feedback. Seek feedback from people that are helping you look at the way that you've given your speech. And those can be people that you trust. Those can be somebody that you've hired as a coach. But for continuous improvement, you want to have somebody that can say to you, hey, you need to do it that way again, or don't do it ever that way. So what I'd recommend from taking public speaking and everyday conversations, I would actually encourage the following. Record yourself. If you're having a hard time in a public speaking situation to really get to that place of being a presenter, then record yourself. And equally, I would recommend you record a conversation, even a phone call, just so that you can hear the way that you talk and interact with somebody. That may sound a little bit weird, but I'm telling you, for me, it's actually helped a lot because I've noticed that I say like, you know, all those filler words that don't need to be there. Or I'm not listening as well as I should be in active listening in an everyday conversation to become better at it. That's a great tip. So remember, public speaking is something that can be improved upon as well as your everyday conversations. Conversations should be organic. Public speaking should be prepared. If this video has been helpful to you, please give it a thumbs up, maybe subscribe, and thank you so much for joining me today.